So we are 1 month away from E3, and honestly, I can't wait until E3 gets here so we can finally put all of the talk around Starfield and if it's exclusive to Microsoft or not to rest, because it still keeps coming up, even though I feel like Phil Spencer kind of answered this question right during that sit down with Todd Howard and Pete Hines. He said essentially any platform that has Game Pass is where they want games like Bethesda's Starfield or even Elder Scrolls to show up. So if there's no Game Pass there, then you wouldn't really expect something like Starfield to be there. But it does appear that there's still kind of hope, I guess, from maybe people who just own a PlayStation or PlayStation fans, that Starfield could still be multi-platform. However, we have, once again, some more talk around this and just more confirmation, I guess you'd say, that it's probably not going to be on the PlayStation 5. Guys, if you enjoy these videos, make sure that like button helps out a ton. And if you're new here to the Spawnwave Plus channel, make sure you subscribe down below. So let's head over here because VGC did a good job getting all the info together, and it looks like the Capcom Resident Evil Village marketing push is in full effect here on the website. But either way, it says Bethesda Starfield is exclusive to Xbox and PC. It's claimed. And this is from Jeff Grubb. And what's really funny is there was a tweet that Jeff put out, I believe it's over here, where he said Starfield is exclusive to Xbox and PC, period. This is me confirming that. And a lot of that has to do with on his live streams, he'll say things and just kind of talk in a free-flowing manner, right, for what could be like hours at a time, and people will like clip out one part that he says without like the overall context of the video, or maybe if he's answering a comment or something there. And it's happened before where it's kind of spun in one direction or not, and it was happening once again, it looked like. So he essentially went on Twitter and just said, look, it's from what I've seen, it's exclusive, right? It's confirmed from what I've heard that they are not going to be putting it on the PlayStation. And that has been actually kind of going around, especially recently since we're heading up to E3, that Microsoft is going to be looking to just have that as something to push Game Pass. And really people talk about the whole thing as, hey, they need to have it everywhere because they have to make their money back. But I feel like after everyone saw the kind of money that Microsoft as an overall company brings in, especially with this last report for the previous quarter, they basically make what they pay out for Bethesda, $7.5 billion in profit, like every quarter. So like there's no concern around that necessarily for Microsoft as a whole. Yes, if you look at Xbox, they're kind of off on their own. They're one part of Microsoft, but even heard talks of them trying to buy Discord for more than $10 billion. Yeah, if they want to do something like have this be more of a long-term thing where they're like, okay, we bought Bethesda and ZeniMax because we want to take advantage of their IPs and their games for the next 20 years, they don't necessarily need to make it all up. And honestly, the amount of money they would make from having Starfield go to the PlayStation would be a drop in the bucket in the grand scheme of things for them. So it does make sense that they would make that kind of a purchase in order to push their Game Pass subscription, which Daniel Ahmed even says a bit further. It's no secret that Microsoft has been on an acquisition spree to obtain content, IP, and talent that can deliver titles into Game Pass on day one. The release of first-party titles into Game Pass on day one continues to be the main competitive advantage over other services. Highly anticipated titles such as Halo Infinite and Starfield launching into Game Pass on day one, accessible through multiple access points, will further Microsoft's goal of increasing total subscribers, network effects, and driving additional monetization within the ecosystem. And we have been hearing more and more talk about companies like we just talked about, Ubisoft, making, I guess, putting more of a focus and making more of a push towards the free-to-play sector, because if the barrier of entry getting into a game is lower, you can accrue more monthly active users. That's something that Game Pass has been working to do month over month, and we have seen it growing pretty rapidly now that it's around 22 or 23 million current users with Game Pass. If they can continue to build more and more towards that 100 million mark, for example, they will be, I would say, pretty sustainable, and I mean, I would hope profitable at that point with Game Pass. But it's not just going to happen like immediately, and it's not something that's going to happen without a big push like something with Starfield, or yes, Elder Scrolls or Wolfenstein. I mean, the list goes on with the different IPs that Bethesda and ZeniMax have that are now part of Microsoft. They have to continuously put out game after game after game at a rapid pace in order to keep things new and interesting and fresh on Game Pass. And we've seen what Netflix has had to do, or if you look at Amazon Prime, they've been stacking up a lot of original series as well. It's just, you got to produce content and you have to do it a lot. Now, you could make one argument, I would say, with this, and that is that, hey, just Starfield going into Game Pass is a big enough advantage that Microsoft could still get away with putting Starfield on the PlayStation 5 and the PlayStation 4, because they're going to charge people on those consoles $60 or even $70, whereas with Microsoft's Xbox or on PC, if you have Game Pass, you just download it. And sure, that is something that I felt like they could have still done. And yeah, I guess it's still possible since Microsoft has not officially come out and shown the Starfield trailer and it just has an Xbox Game Pass logo at the end of it. But I still think Microsoft is looking at this long term, and I believe that $7.5 billion is an investment into Game Pass, into the long run, to not have these games go onto other platforms, rather than go to, say, Bethesda and talk to them about having Starfield go into Game Pass day one while they are still able to put it on the PlayStation. They said, no, we're just buying all of this, and we're just going to allot it into Game Pass on PC and on the Xbox. And yeah, that means they probably would be stopping the release of a PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 version of Starfield, considering this game's been worked on for quite a while now. But we're 1 month now away from E3, so we should find out pretty soon, since I feel like Starfield is going to have a big showing at E3. The word now is that it could end up in 2022, but that could be like early 2022, so we could still be less than a year away from the game coming out. And I mean, we'll see what happens if at the end of that trailer it just comes up with Xbox, PC, and Game Pass with no PlayStation logo there. Thanks, guys, for watching, and I'll see you next time.